Now let us start the second period. So in the second period, in the first period, we try to understand a lot of theoretical concepts over the Java networking, because before writing the code, you must be able to understand all these topics. I try to brief them clearly, try to understand that. Okay. Now come down. We were understanding MAC address, some terms used in Java networking. So MAC address is what it stands for media access control. One more name, NIC card address. NIC card. It is called network card. Sometimes it is called network card, Ethernet card. It is also called Ethernet card. Ethernet. Many names it has. Media access control address means NIC card address. Ethernet card address. And network interface control, NIC full form, physical address. It has many names. MAC address means media access control address, NIC card address, NIC full form, network interface controller. Okay. Ethernet card address, physical address. It is a 48 bit. How many bit? 48 bit address. 48 bit. IP address 32 bit. 32 bit address. 48 bit address. It has 48 bit. So its address can't be changed. Address can't be changed. Can't be changed. Okay. But IP address can be changed. It is written in hexadecimal. It is written in hexadecimal, but IP address will be written in decimal numbers. It will be represented in IP address will be represented in decimal numbers. Okay, 0 to 255, and MAC address will be represented in hexadecimal. Represented in hexadecimal. No, I think it is enough for this. We can say one more thing, that is what one node means any device, any computing device, maybe your computer, laptop, whatever. It may have many NIC cards, multiple NIC cards. Okay, but every card will have unique MAC address. Every card has a device. Simply I am stating here, a device can have multiple NIC cards, but every card has unique MAC address. But every NIC card has unique MAC address. Okay. Unique means different MAC. Every card has, normally a device means any device, your computer, laptop, somewhat networking devices, like what switches, layer 2 switches, routers. Okay. Here I have written the devices are what? Computers, laptop, computing devices. Computing devices. They are called network nodes. So sometimes we can count computers, laptops, desktops, tabs. Okay, mobiles, layer L2 switches, routers. Okay, you can see simply layer 2 switches, L2 switches, sir. They are called L2. The network nodes are called layer 2, L2 switches, comma, they are called layer 2 switches. Why? Because layer 2, whenever we study about, that is your ISO, International Standards Organization, ISO, okay, organization, there is a protocol layer while studying in computer networks. That is what 7-layer structure. Okay, physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, application layer. This is the structure. So these switches, they will work in data link layer. That's why it's called layer 2 switches. Layer 2 switches means they will work in data link layer. And routers. These all are network nodes, and they have the IP address and MAC address. Okay. Now come down here. But every NIC card has unique MAC address. So here I told you that a device can have multiple NIC cards. So every NIC card has a unique MAC address. Okay. If 10 NIC cards a device has, every card has different MAC address that is written in hexadecimal 48-bit address, but that address can't be changed because at the time of card designing construction, this address will be written into ROM, read-only memory. Okay. Now come down. It is 48-bit address. I told you that. Now finally, I'm going to finish this topic. This is called socket. Socket. One more point. Socket is what? Try to understand. Socket is port number we studied, na? What is port number? Endpoint, common endpoint between the apps. If two apps are communicating, one client app and server app is they are communicating. So one common endpoint that is called a port. But what about the socket? So it is endpoint between two-way communication. Between two-way communication. Whenever you write the coding, that moment all the doubts will be clarified. What is socket? How the socket is being created? How the port number is taken. Okay, socket is what? Endpoint between two-way communication. So this much I have. Yeah, I have discussed. Between what Java networking. Now we will try to understand what is socket programming. So before writing the socket programming, we need to understand what is socket programming. What is socket programming? So socket programming is what? It is used to communicate between the apps. Socket programming used to communicate between the apps. Apps means applications. Okay. So that applications, they are running on different JRE. Running in different RES. JRE means Java Runtime Environment. Java Runtime Environment. Okay. Now, socket programming is what? Further, we will write the socket program. How to write the socket programming? Yeah? So, use it to communicate between apps. Use it to communicate between apps. So that apps are what? They are running on different JREs. Okay. Socket program will be written to communicate between apps which are running on different JREs. Okay. Now, so this socket programming two types. Okay. It is socket programming two types. That is what one is what connection oriented. I told you that for the connection oriented, which protocol will be used? TCP, transmission control protocol, connection oriented. So another one is, second one is, so connection oriented, which protocols we will use, which classes will be used, that is very important. For the socket programming, for this socket programming, two types. One is connection oriented. For this, which classes will be used? We need to some classes. So, okay, one is what? Socket and server socket. Classes used for used for what? Used for what? Classes used for this connection oriented socket programming. Socket, comma, server socket. These are classes, server. Okay. Classes used for connection oriented socket, server sockets. So next, what about that second one? Connectionless socket programming. Connectionless socket programming. That is for classes. Classes are what? So connectionless socket programming used classes are what type of classes will be used for here? Datagram socket. What they are called? Datagram socket and datagram pocket. Datagram socket, datagram socket, comma, datagram pocket. Datagram pocket. Okay, classes, connectionless socket programming. Classes are datagram socket, datagram pocket. Okay, not pocket, packet. Datagram packet, datagram socket. So now let us write little bit of programming. So we have studied lengthy. So how to write somewhat we need to study. We need to write the coding here. First of all, this much of code, this much of theory we need to understand. This is very important. Okay. Now come down here. We will write the code for. So here one more point we need to brief here. Whenever we are going to write the client side app and server application, client application. So client application must know two parameters. must know two parameters. Client application, you say simply app, must know what? Two parameters. Mean two informations. Must know two info. That info is what? Two parameters. What? One is the IP address of the server. IP address of server. Okay. IP address of server and port number. Port number. That is very important. Huh? These 2 this two info, the client app must know. One is IP address of server, port number. Okay. So now let us write some coding. Okay. First of all, so whatever we have studied now, this is we are going to implement here. So first of all, what we need to import, as I told you that one package. This is, I told you the java.net package. So within this, if you know the particular class, you write the class name, just java.net socket. Socket is a class, we have studied that. If you know that, you can, why it is giving error, semicolon. Okay. Now, if you know that socket class, you write. Otherwise, you, because we need so many classes here, na? So you simply write the star here. Okay. So java.net package, whatever the classes it has, all will be imported. Next, one more class we need here, that is a package we need here, import. That is what java.io .star. Okay, termination. Now try to these two packages we have imported. Okay, Java IO input output package and java.net package. Now you come down here within the main class and main method. Now we need to create the object for. First of all, you comment here. I am going to write the server application, server app, and I want to create the server, creating server app. Creating server app. Okay. So syntax is what? For server app, if it is connection oriented, I told you that socket programming for connection oriented classes, socket or server socket. Two classes, na? Socket or server socket. So say I am going to use the server, this, if it is connection oriented class connection, so server socket, I'm going to use server socket. I'm going to create the object for server socket class. So create the server object for server socket class. So for this class, create the object. You simply write SS, otherwise X, Y, Z, OBJ, any name, your name, my name, anything. This is the object. Syntax. Class name, as per syntax, class name is the object name. But if you write OBJ, no issue. Next, this is the syntax. It is helping us. New server socket. Here we need to keep brackets. So I told you that termination. This is called the constructor. Okay. Now you comment here, constructor of the class. Constructor of the class. Which class? Constructor of the class. Constructor of the class for what? This server socket class. Now, next, you come down here. Now take one, that is what? Okay. Now, within this constructor, we need to pass. I told you that two values, that is what, two, whenever we are creating socket programming. Okay. Client app must know two info: IP address of server, otherwise port number. Okay. Here you pass the port number. Take any port number. This can be changed. 666, 46, 777, 777, 47, like whatever you know. Okay. This is the port number I have passed. Now you two classes, and I told you that connection for the connection oriented classes, it is TCP based. Two classes will be used for to create the socket programming to that is word for server app. So one more class, socket class. So here you come down here, you create the object for the socket class. Socket class, simply you write yes. Okay. Otherwise, socket object, whatever. This is the syntax. So normally socket means this is the object for S is small, and this class always start with imported classes all will be normally all the classes will be start with capital letters. Okay. Small letter S socket means it is object, but if you confuse no, both are the socket. So I don't want to confuse you. Simply you write yes. Otherwise, obj1. Okay. Otherwise, obj socket. You can write this. Whenever this will be used for whenever you are creating many objects that moment. So that will be useful. Huh? So otherwise, you simply write that socket obj1. So now here, why it is giving, you need to put it is a method constructor. So terminate with the semicolon. That's why semicolon. It is constructor of the class. Which class? Constructor of the socket class. This is the constructor of the server socket class. Now, why it is giving error? We need to now this is the syntax na? To create the object for socket class. Na? Now here is equal to, you remove this one. No need. Okay. Now you call a method of this one server. I told you that server socket class used, it has the methods. That methods will be accessed by object creation. This object. So here you call that method of what? How the methods will be called of server socket by object. So obj dot, what is that method? You see here how many methods are here. These are all methods. Which method we need? You need here, if you come down, so many methods here. You check all that methods. Oh, so many methods are here. This is wait method. We need this word. Accept method we need. Accept method. Where is that accept method? You simply type A, you will get this one, accept method. Okay. So now we are accessing accept method of the server socket class. So that method is being accessed with the object, because this method is the object method. Okay. Now, what do you mean of this accept method? Okay. It establishes the connection. Simply I'm writing establish. It establishes the connection. And waits for the client. Connection waits for the client. Waits for the client. Huh? It waits for the client. Okay. Now means this accept method. This accept method. It is the method of this server socket class. So that method is object method. That's why it is being accessed with the object created for server socket class. The server socket class is part of your Java.NET package. Okay. This server socket class will be used for socket programming whenever you want to make connection oriented socket programming. Okay, two classes will be used. I told you that socket, one is server socket. So server socket class used and objection created within the constructor of server socket class, port number given, because I told you that whenever client sockets, whenever you are writing code, that moment client app must know two information, IP address of server and port number. Okay, port number I have given here. Next, you need to understand what. Okay, now suppose this is the this is what to create the server app. So we need to write many code, but simply I'm giving the hint here. After that, you come how to write client side application. Clients app. Create client app. Client app creation. How to we will discuss how to write the for the client app of creation. We need to write what? First, we need to take the socket class. So within the socket class object, suppose object is equal to S. Okay. So syntax, this is the syntax for socket class. Here we need to keep the bracket, that is the constructor. So, okay, after that it is to be terminated. Okay. Now, this is object created for the socket class. Socket class is part of your .NET package, Java.NET package. So this is the object for this class. This is the constructor. Why it is giving error? Always the class will be with the capital name. Okay. Now it is giving error because here we need to pass some parameter. That is what? One is the host name of the server. We need to pass here host name of the server and host and port number. Host name of the server and port number. Okay. So here, normally what happened, whenever I want to create the client app application, okay, creation, we need to create the object for the socket class. Then we need to pass the within this constructor, okay, IP address or host name of the server. Okay, host name of the server, IP address or host name of the server, otherwise port number. Okay, two parameters we need to pass here. One is that IP address or host name of the server, okay, and a port number. So here I want to use only local host as a string type of data. String will be kept always. String will be kept always in string double quotation marks, small letters. I need to write local host. Okay. After that, port number. Port number is what? This port number. Okay. This port number, same port number. Okay. Now, termination. Huh? Okay. Now, object created for the socket class whenever we are creating the client-side application. So this is the syntax. Here we need to pass the IP address or local or host name of the server. So here I have used local host because the server is running on same system. Okay, server is running on same system. Same system means same computers. Okay. And the port number that is defined in your server side. Okay. Next, what we need to do, we need to do what? Okay. So now I finished. So this is some syntax I have briefed you. Okay. Today in the class, we have not written much of code. Just we try to understand the theoretical concepts because these points, no, we need to understand. Until unless you don't have much knowledge, so about these points, and directly if I go for writing the programming, what is this port number? What is the use of server socket class? When it will be used, server socket class, if you keep. Okay. Okay, you will be in confusion, huh? So we will close this almost, it is 9:30 going, and on Sunday we will meet again and we will discuss circuit programming, because we have studied today thoroughly. We have studied a lot of theoretical concepts. What are the protocols used in, okay, what is networking, what is networking, why, what is the use of network, advantage of networking. So what are the network nodes, networking devices? Okay. So what is the advantage of networking? Okay. And then some protocols which are used in part of your .NET, Java.NET package to TCP, Transmission Control Protocol, UDP, and what are their features, and how the .NET package divided into two levels, two sections. One is low level API, high level API. High level API deals with what? Deals with abstraction of URIs, universal resource identifiers, and universal resource locators and connections. Okay, but that low level API deals with the abstraction of addresses, sockets, network interfaces. Okay, now some examples of classes. The classes will be used. I told you that every package is a folder or directory. So .NET is a folder or directory. It has many classes. The classes example I have given many classes. That .NET package, it has many packages. I simply have taken some examples only. They are authenticator, proxy, socket, URL, URI. Okay, if you want to know so many packages of that, we can simply go for, I will explain so many packages, so many classes name I will explain here. Okay, for the classes, simply I have authenticator, proxy, socket, URL, URI. So many classes are there in what classes of your Java.NET package. So how many classes? One class, two class, three, four, five classes I taken. Na? So many classes I have. I will explain cache request, cache response, content handler, cookie manager, datagram package, datagram socket, IMPL means implementation, interface address. Okay, multi-cache socket, init address, init 4 address, init 6 address. Init 6 address means IP version 6. Okay, init 4 means IP version 4. So like there's so many classes are there and some interfaces it has, because here we high level, this low level API deals with the addresses and interfaces. No? Some interfaces names I will explain: content handler factory, cookie policy, cookie store, file name map, socket option, T, socket options. These are all protocol family. These are all interfaces, okay, which are part of your Java.NET package. So some terms, some terminology we try to understand, which out of apart from out of that IP address is very compulsory. I have briefed very deeply. Okay, and what is protocol? MAC address is what? Media access control. What are the similar names? Okay, synonyms for the MAC address. Sometimes physical address, NIC card address, Ethernet card address. Okay, MAC address all are equal. It is 48-bit address. Okay, and 1 point socket. Okay, socket, as I told you, that whenever we start to write the programming for socket programming, one is socket connection oriented connection. Okay, whenever we are writing for connection oriented, two classes will be used for connection oriented socket and server socket. For the connectionless socket programming, two classes will be used, that is for data gram packet socket. Why? Because connectionless socket programming, connectionless means user datagram protocol. It uses the user datagram protocol. So that's why datagram socket, datagram packet. Two classes will be used for connectionless socket programming. Okay. So simply, this is not actual code. We will discuss on Saturday. Okay. Simple, I have given how to write 2 lines. Okay, for the client side, server side application, how to client side application, how to write. Almost it is 9:40. Okay, so I want to terminate now, and we will meet on Sunday. Thank you. Huh? Thank you. Have a nice day. Jai Hind. So I hope that these classes will be so useful to you. As I told you that these are very free classes. Anybody can join the classes. And importance of these classes, they will be taught in, we can write the code in mobile, no need of laptop. If if you don't have money expense, it is laptop is expensive. Simply you can write the code in 5,000. You can get the mobile 5,000, 6,000. Nowadays mobiles are coming with very speed RAMs, 8 GB, 16 GB, like what you know, and octa-core processors. I think they are very powerful processor with high-speed clock. So they are so sufficient to write the code practice. Okay. If you have any doubt, I have provided my number 9110398650. You can make a call to me. Thank you. Have a nice day. This is okay. And